when they turned 17, the credit card companies were out of control, sending mail every day. And I used to have to hide the mail or throw it away because one of my sons he wanted a credit card, but I knew he wasn't ready for a credit card. But the credit card companies, and I really think there should be a law.
I think it should be illegal.
Yeah. I really think it should be a law because it's like they're poaching the kids, you know, and because all kids see is credit, free money. They don't know the part about, they don't remember the part that they have to pay it back, or the interest that's attached to it, and the responsibility that comes along with it. And so I'm just going to say to you guys that when you start exhibiting those habits of responsibility, then that might be the time that you sit down with your parents, and maybe you have to bring up the conversation. Mom, or Dad, I think I'm ready for a debit card. Can we talk about it? But you have to know yourself if you really are ready, and or is it just because you want one because everybody else has one, right? Medication. Now this might seem a little out, like how does medication and life skills come together? Well, they come together. They're very important because some of our kids are on medication, and you know, some people have diabetes at young age, high blood pressure, whatever. There are some kids that have to take medication. Some kids take vitamins, and so at home, you know, Mom and Dad are there to remind you to take your meds. But when you go away to college, they're not going to be there to remind you to take your medication. So that really is an important life skill because that could be the matter of you, you know, being well and being so sick that you can't get up and go to class. And so if medication is a part of your life, if it's something that you have to do, and who knows, you may have to do it when you get older, it really is important that you really take on that responsibility. I had a niece who was very sick, and I was so proud of her because she grew up with a really bad condition, and she's been on medication most of her life. But she started, we never had to do it. A little girl, we did it, but we showed her very young how to fill up her medicine, you know, the little containers, and she would do it every day. And she knew how to take her own medicine. She was responsible. Yeah, we called it the prescriptions and all that, but she was responsible for doing that. So, yes.
There's also apps that you can schedule to
Great. Right.
signal your medications.
Just like I have an app on my phone now that signals that I'm supposed to drink water 7 times a day. Right. In this new age of technology, there's so many things that you can do just with your phone, just to remind you of certain things that you have to do, even with your budget, with everything, with managing your money, with your time management when it comes to your school, timing yourself. All of those things you can do with your phone because we know that you love your phones. You do. Relationships, which are important. So, you are influenced by the people that you spend most of your time with. And that's been said in several different ways. But basically, what that means is that you really it's important for you to really begin to think about people who have the same interests that you have. And are those the people that you want to be around, or do you want to be around people who don't have the same interests as you? How many of you have friends that have the same interests as you? Okay, good. I mean, and so how does that make you feel that you're around people? What does that allow you to do when you're around people with the same interests? Anybody else? Express it. Go on.
You can talk about it.
Talk about the same things. And anybody else?
Or be successful.
Because you're around people who want the same things that you want. Interesting, right? And so So you all pretty much seem to understand that. And this is a perfect example of that, because you're in an environment where most of you are here because you're interested in the same things, right? And that doesn't mean that you will ultimately go on to be an engineer or somebody in tech, but right now you're interested in the same thing. So you have something in common. So the way to do that is what you're doing now, and what the parents are doing is making sure that we support those things that can help you along the way. And so we do that by finding all of these different activities and all extracurricular activities and clubs and all of these things that we suggest, because we listen. Isn't that right, parents? We listen to what they, how many of us listen? Right? I mean, Isaiah said to us a long time ago that he computers, that's what he wanted, and that's what and engineering, he wanted to try engineering, but he really likes computers. And so I have made an effort to try to make sure that I find programs for him that will stimulate that piece of him. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't, there are other things that he should do, right, like read and write. So I also try to find those activities. But it is easier, right, when you are around people that have the same interests as you do. And so it sounds like you are doing it, and if your parents, if you've expressed that there's something that you are interested in, that's positive, obviously it's positive, and you're not doing it, so this is the time to talk to your parents about it and say what it is that you think that you want to get involved with. Because a lot of times we make these suggestions. Also, I'll tell you a story. So last year, Isaiah, before I got it, I had the opportunity to tell him, I'll put it this way. I entered him in a competition. It was AXO, NAACP. They have the African American Olympics for children, and so for youth. And so I entered. I went online and I registered him. Well, he hadn't gotten home from school yet. And then when he came home, I was going to sit down and say, "Oh, Isaiah, I found this, organization." He said, "Mom, did you sign me up for something?" So he was really upset with me because he said that I signed him up for something.
Because they kept sending me emails. I didn't know who they were. Telling me I had to work on a project. I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's what happened. By the time he got home, the person, they had started texting him on Facebook, sending him emails, blah, 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 and I had not had the opportunity to see that.
And then I had to do a project 2 weeks before the competition was started.
He called his brothers. They live in Maryland, one in New York. He called all of them. They all ganged up on me. "Mom, how did you do that?" But then they took my side and like Isaiah, "Mom used to do it to us all the time. It's okay." And so he did. He participated. He went on and did the program. He entered the competition and he won the state competition in math. He won. And so so this year I didn't do that, but he said to me, "So Mom, when does AXO start?" He asked me, "When does it start?" And so that was good. It didn't work. I probably didn't handle it right in the beginning because I should have talked to him about it. But because I found something that fueled his interest and his passion, so the next year he was okay. And he just competed in the last week in the state competition. We're waiting to hear whether he won. But when we were pulling out, because he has one more year to compete, when we were pulling out, we weren't even off the street. He said, "Mom, next year I'm going to do this." So, parents, I just say to you, they may get mad at us, but, we're doing the right thing when we bring them to these events and we try to get them involved. And in the end, my 26 and 27-year-old, they say to me all the time, "Thank you, Mom." They say it all the time, "Thank you," because I just pushed a little bit. to try to move them along their way. So, hang out with people